So, when you think of Illumination, do you think of like you think of like the fucking Minions and stuff? I don't think you think of experimental or adult animation. You mostly think of the Minions or Secret Life of Pets or things like that. But Illumination actually did make a different kind of weird thing with an artist collective t-shirt company, also has a studio. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but they're called Brain Dead. And they do a lot of, they're kind of an artist collective who does a lot of stuff, but with a side company called Illumination Labs, made 5 weird, strange animated shorts. There hasn't been a lot of talk about these because they're completely separate from the Illumination style. And I found it interesting because when I go through the credits of these, it didn't have Chris Meledandri on this. It had his son, I believe his son, from what I could find. I can't find a lot about this guy, Nick Meledandri. Look, I get that he's an obvious nepotism baby and he used his daddy's minion money to make these weird experimental shorts for an artist collective. But hear me out on this, is that maybe he's doing the nepotism baby thing correct because he got his dad's lame minion movie studio to make something actually really cool and weird. And I will give him props for that. I don't know this guy. I don't know the whole deal. If you're going to like a pretty big like corporate studio and being like, I want my weird artist collective friends and make these weird animation shorts that some of them don't really have ends or stories or whatever, and I want to use these resources, and you get that to happen, to me that's pretty punk rock and pretty cool. So I don't know much about Nick Meledandri, but I actually have a lot of respect for him for getting this done at Illumination. Like, this isn't like Pixar has weird programs and stuff like that. Like, I don't know of any of those with Illumination, so I give him credit. I haven't heard much of Illumination Labs after these or before these, but what these are, they are kind of like weirder shorts, are each done by a different artist. A few of them I think are really cool and have a semblance of a plot. Some just don't. They're sort of just like, I guess, a vibe. I would say some are just kind of just weird, but they're not really trying to be anything more than weird experimental shorts. The 2 better ones, I'd say, remind me of heavy metal. The other ones just remind me of weird art shorts. I would say Gremlin Foundry, which is by this artist Jordan Spear, who's the lead. Each one had a different artist behind him. It's basically a long way showing a whole company's products are made from gremlin tears and what that means. It's an interesting environmental message, I will say. That one was a little weird. It's a weird way to start off. It's usually the one they asked you to. S.L.U.G.Z. These are also done in different animation styles as well, and not at all looking like the Minions. I actually recommend, if you're intrigued by this, that you check these out because I think they're actually really cool. If you like the Adult Swim, it has a very Adult Swim kind of heavy metal vibe to some of them, but they're all their kind of own thing. S.L.U.G.Z. is about, it's a weird stop motion thing. I think it's probably CG, but has sort of a stop motion look to it. It's in 2026 in New York, when New York is under 600 feet of water and everyone is transformed into mutants eating trash. It's just sort of 2 mutants fishing, another mutant comes up. It's sort of a slice of life anime in a post-apocalyptic future where we all look like mutant slugs and stuff. So if you're into that, I would say S.L.U.G.Z. That's done by Steve Smith. There's also It's Just the Night Winds Weaving the Tree Branches, which, much like the name, and it's done by Dario Alva, is a bunch of cars on a highway crashing into each other, and you're not sure what that's about, and then you see a weird kind of half human clown thing crawling. This one made no sense, but hey, I applaud you for actually doing it. I will say one thing about these is they're at least doing something interesting and weird with animation. It does feel like a bunch of scenes you've seen before, but I do appreciate that they're like trying to do different things. The 2 I like and I'd say are the best, and they're the most like heavy metal, the movie, is especially this one, Clutch Diamond by Devin Flynn. Sort of a Bill Plimpton meets heavy metal thing. I would say it's about this guy Clutch Diamond, who actually is a nepotism baby, so maybe it's based on Nick Meledandri. He's works for this department, and the whole movie, the short, is him getting ready to get into this cool car and stop these aliens from destroying the city. But you see in the beginning someone driving around with a cool car, but you don't get that epic conclusion. You just get him getting ready to get into this car that he's not prepared to. That's the whole thing. It's done well. It does remind me of the first, I think it's the first cartoon in heavy metal, which was eventually what The Fifth Element is based on. But the other one that I think is really probably the best one was one called Terraforming. It's by Pete sharp. I don't want to reveal too much because it's got a cool reveal, but it's basically about a space satellite comes down to a planet. These astronauts come down. These angels, like sculpture angels, take off the helmet and they're mice, and then they read their minds. You find all about this post-apocalyptic world and stuff. It looks like Morbius from the Heavy Metal magazine. It is actually really cool. If you're going to watch one, I would recommend it. As the most semblance of a plot. It is a weird, like, heavy metal-ish animation kind of thing, but it is the weirdest one. It's also the most complete. I don't know much about Brain Dead. Their website shows they just are an artist collective who does a lot of things. A lot of younger artists like to do those things. I will say this, I think this is really cool that someone did something like that with animation and with a studio. I don't think we all have a ton of faith in terms of their experimental vibe. So this is an interesting avenue to go in. I don't know if they'll ever do this again. I don't know if this was just like Chris Meledandri letting his kid go off and do a weird thing. You can see these shorts. When this is a separate video, there'll be a playlist. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. I posted it on Twitter as well and in the Discord. Here, I'm going to post it. This is the, that's the playlist, with all of them. It's a YouTube channel for the Artist Collective. But I appreciate that someone tried to do something different with Illumination, because I don't think they're really known for that. And I really do applaud Nick Meledandri, who I'm going to give the credit for, but I also Chris Meledandri for actually being open to do this with Illumination. There wasn't a ton of press coverage on it. There was the Cartoon Brew article, but I would like to see more from animation studios doing things with different artists and stuff. This was interesting. I don't know if Illumination will ever do something like that, but I really appreciated at least the possibility of these. I think Terraforming was the only one I outright loved. I think Clutch Diamond was close to it, but the fact that they're making kind of heavy metal-y Adult Swim, I don't want to say Adult Swim just because it's like more adult. I guess you have to say that. There is an obvious heavy metal influence on this. I'm not just saying that because it's more adult, but I think it's really cool, and I hope I hope they do more stuff like that. I hope they push the medium of animation. It shows like that's at least an idea in this company that they could, and not just do kind of the big corporate kid stuff that they're known for currently. So it gives me, it's kind of a weird sidestep in Illumination's history. Will they do it again? I've heard no knowledge of that. It does say Mutant Sequencer Volume 1, which has the possibility that there could be more volumes, or there couldn't be. I don't know. These didn't get a ton of views. They're not very well known. I'm not sure why, but there was a time where Illumination did do something different and made adult, experimental, weird cartoons, and that's at least interesting to me that they at least attempted it.